Alright, what's up YouTube? So I've been getting a lot of questions recently asking what the new HECARIM build, rune setup, and itemization is for patch 13.17. I've been having a lot of success on HECARIM recently actually. I started a new account and the account is literally winning every game, stomping every single game. So I'm going to go over everything you need to know about the new patch. There are two rune setups that you can go. The first one is this Conqueror page, right? And the second one is the Face Rush page, okay? So you want to go Conqueror when the enemy team has a lot of champions that fully commit. If they have champions that all in and try their best to kill you, right, and they don't really kite that much, then you always want to go Conqueror. So examples of this would be, let's say the enemy jungler locks in Maokai, enemy mid laner is Lissandra, and you know they have tank CC, right? Well, in cases like that, having Face Rush doesn't really help you at all because you can't actually evade them. So having Conqueror for more all-in power is actually a lot better. Whereas if the enemy team is more mobility oriented, they kite a lot. Things like, let's say, Jhin Karma bot lane or Lilia jungle, stuff like this, you would always want to go Face Rush. Alright, so now for the actual itemization. So first things first, you always want to do Blue Smite every single game no matter what. Blue Smite every game guaranteed. Now, when it comes to actually building, this is where it becomes a little tricky. So if the enemy team has champions that have a lot of auto attackers, imagine 3 or 4 auto attackers, then you want to go Tabby, and if they don't, if they have let's say a lot of CC, then you go Merchants, right? If they don't have auto attackers or CC, go Ionian. Okay. When you're building Ionian, you always want to get it as a first item like that. Okay? And then after that, you build your items. If you're building your defensive boot options, you always just rush tier 1 boots and you sit on it until after you complete your first item. What you're going to want to do every single game is you always do Shojin Rush. No matter if you're going Phase Rush or Conqueror, Shojin Rush is just what you always have to do. And the reason why is because Shojin is just the most broken item in the game right now. When you finish it, you get 60 AD, you get 40 ability haste, and you get 500 HP. So it's actually insane, right? So you always want to get Shojin first every single game. What matters is what you get as a second item. So let's say you're going the Conqueror setup, right? And you think the enemy team all in a lot, then every single game with the Conqueror setup, you're always going to want to go Gore Drinker. Okay, so Conqueror setup is for Gore Drinker. And the reason why you do this is because it makes it so that when the enemy team all into you, you at least have an AoE heal that you can use that makes it so that they can't actually kill you. If you're going the Face Rush setup, on the other hand, you want to go Stridebreaker. And the reason why is because if their champions are rely on mobility, then having the Face Rush feels really good, but the Stridebreaker because you can slow them and then run them down. Okay. Now there's also another option, which is you can also go Eclipse. Eclipse is a lot rarer. The only times that I would ever go Eclipse is if the enemy team literally drops a bunch of tanks and I have a huge lead early, or if the enemy team drops a lot of things let's say Vayne, you know, stuff like Vayne that's true damage, and no matter how much health you build, you're still going to die. So you just want to build for one-shot power, right? But Eclipse, I would say you're only going to get it maybe 10 to 15% of games, so you don't even have to worry about it. So for the items afterwards, it kind of depends on the game state, right? So you either go your Gore Drinker, you go your Stridebreaker, or you go your Eclipse. And then after this, you can build whatever you want. Normally, the default is to go Serax. Whether you're going Face Rush or Conqueror, Serax just always feels really good. Because when you have 3 items, you literally get a 200 health shield, or 2000 health shield. So Serax is a really good option. Another option is you can go Cleaver. Another option is if you're super far ahead and the enemy team has a lot of kiting, right? Even if you're with the Conqueror build, then you can always go Swirldas, right? These are options. Or let's say you want to get a mix of all of them, right? So you can just build anything. So it's kind of the only thing that matters are your first 2 items, which is Shojin into whatever item you decide to go. And then after that, it's up to you. The one important thing to note, right, and this is something a lot of HECARIM players might not understand yet, is that you never want to build Mirror Mana anymore. And the reason why is because with the new mana nerfs to HECARIM's mana pool, he actually gets a lot less AD from Mirror Mana, which makes it less of a good item. And also, since they made it so that his Q costs a lot less mana, and his W as well, it also makes it so that there's no point in building Mirror Mana, because you don't even need the extra mana right? You have like enough mana with what you're given. So that's pretty much it right now for HECARIM. Don't build Seer, rush Shojin every game, and then Conquer or Phase Rush, both are viable. I think HECARIM's in a pretty good state right now. Like, if you're doing this build setup, you should easily be able to like win the majority of your games, feel like you can actually like, carry an impact. So, honestly, I actually really like the changes. I think they're very good, and I think that HECARIM's actually a really good 1v9 set right now. So anyways, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, sub if you haven't already, and I will see you all for the next one. Peace.